like at the start of this, I was very excited. I was raring to go, but after sitting down and going through the Oscar nominated films that I hadn't seen, I just got so fed up. I'm so burnt out. Um, as of recording this right now, there are two nominated films that I haven't seen yet, and I am not sure if I'm going to see them. Mostly because like I'm defeated. I'm just so sick of these movies. There was like at the time of the nominations being announced, there was like 18 films that I had to sit through. That like I had not seen yet, and out of like the 18, like I only enjoyed like one. There's only like one of them that I actually like really liked. Um, yeah, it's recording. Um, so I'm just so fed up. I want to move on to other things. I'm just not. I'm like just flat out. I'm not enjoying myself, but I'm gonna muscle through this. Um, just give my thoughts on these. It's gonna be a lot more brief, a lot more loose. I didn't really write anything. I'm just gonna go off the cuff. I'm just gonna wing it because I want this to be over already. I'm not going to go through each and every single nomination for each film because some of these films have so many nominations that I'll just find it tedious to like systematically go through every single nomination. So I'm just going to talk about the movie broadly, and you can probably infer like what I think it might deserve to win. I don't know. So the first movie, we'll start with the best picture nominees. The first movie is Bugonia, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I was surprised to see this get any nominations at all because Kinds of Kindness got zero nominations last year, and I think that's like one of his better movies. That got zero, and then I watched Bugonia, and I liked it, but I don't think it's as good as Lanthimos' other films. And so then I was surprised to see, it got like some Oscar nominations, including a Best Picture nom. Um, I think that this film is good, as I said, but it feels like Lanthimos is watering himself down a little bit. It does feel like it feels like he's really sanding down the rough edges, making it more palatable, making it more consumable, more digestible, which is not a bad thing. But as I said, I really like Kinds of Kindness. I really liked how harsh and transgressive and inaccessible that movie was. How kind of anticlimactic and um, I guess like did I say transgressive? Like transgressive is the word for it. And Bugonia, it has a lot of social political commentary, which is a bit on the nose. Yeah, sure, but I think there's how do I explain it? I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to word this because I want to talk about the ending. I don't think a lot of people are giving the ending enough credit. Like I have an interpretation of the ending that I haven't heard anyone else say. But I might save it for another time because I don't really want to be spoiling the movies here. Emma Stone's great. Jesse Plemons was great as well. Shame he didn't get nominated. I like the aspect ratio. The color palette was very nice as well, very appealing, and has the same kind of awkward, kind of dread-inducing tone that a lot of Lanthimos films have. But again, it's kind of pared back a bit. It's a bit watered down, a bit padded out. I think my biggest issue with this film is that it's so cliche. Like there's like so many scenes in this movie that feel like I've seen them before. Like it feels like they're just going through the motions here. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but there was just so many moments in this film where I knew how the scene was going to end. I could call it immediately, and so I was left not really having that many surprises. But I did enjoy it overall, and I think it's mostly due to the performances and just how grimy and sweaty Jesse Plemons is. Like you can smell him through the screen. Just his rank, dirty, fucking sandy, mucky smell coming off of him. And again, I think there's layers to the ending that a lot of people aren't really addressing, and it's kind of like a double bluff, if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, I'll talk about it maybe some other time. I don't know. But anyway, Bugonia, I like it. I don't know if it's going to win any of the Oscars. Again, I'm a bit surprised that it got nominated at all. If it won Best Picture, it would be very weird, and but I wouldn't be that upset about it. So I'm going to give Bugonia, I guess, a 7 out of 10 for now. The next film is F1. Joseph, I didn't even write down the. I should have wrote down the directors. 2 seconds there. I think it's Joseph Kosinski is his name. Yeah, Joseph Kosinski. Right. It's the same guy who did the Top Gun sequel, Top Gun Maverick, and he then comes along with F1, and I knew it was Joseph Kosinski, and I liked Top Gun Maverick, but I didn't love it. And my experience with Top Gun Maverick was the action scenes were great, they were impeccable, but then everything else, the connective tissue, everything else between that was disposable and kind of worthless. And my ideal version of Top Gun Maverick is just like a supercut of all the actions. Make it more like something like Dunkirk, where like the whole thing is just one elongated scene or something. But that would put people off because a lot of people hate Dunkirk, even though it's one of Nolan's best movies. But whatever. So I saw that he was doing an F1 movie, and I saw that like my assumption of it was, oh, it's the same as Top Gun Maverick but with cars. So I avoided it because I don't really care about F1, and I wasn't that big on Top Gun Maverick to begin with, and I saw that this movie was like nearly 3 hours long as well, and I thought, you know what? I just looked at the screen, not the screen. I looked at the poster, and I was like, yeah, I can just picture what this movie's going to be. I can just picture a hypothetical version of what this movie's going to be, and that was enough for me. I didn't feel like I needed to go see this. And then just out of nowhere, it got a Best Picture nomination, which I'll get into. I have this like conspiracy theory as to why I got a Best Picture nomination. But I watched this movie because of the Oscars, and it's worse than this hypothetical movie that I conjured in my brain. Now, first of all, I have to address this elephant in the room. Brad Pitt is younger than my. Or no, he's not. Fuck, I messed it up. Brad Pitt is older than my dad. Brad Pitt is older than my dad, and I find that so distracting. I can't take him seriously anymore in these roles. He's still doing the same old thing that he's been doing since he was like 30, and it's so distracting because that he is not what a 60-year-old man looks like. That's not what a 60-year-old man looks like, and I can't take him seriously. I can't stop looking at his teeth. I can't just look at him and not imagine like all of the like not making any judgment on this man's appearance, but I'm just saying like I can't look at him and can't help but wonder like all of the work he's had done, all of the surgeries, all of the like medication and supplements and like gym routines and all of this like Hollywood trickery that's going into him, like and packing his body full of styrofoam or whatever. And I just can't take him seriously anymore. He's too old for this shit. At least Leonardo DiCaprio is, you know, at least he's kind of embracing his age a bit. Even like Javier Bardem, who's in this, he looks his age. Javier Bardem looks like a 50-something-year-old man in this movie. But like Brad Pitt, it's like he's trying to pass for 40 or like 30 or something in this, and it's so distracting. He's too old for this shit. It's so weird, man. It's so fucking weird. And he's been doing the same. It's the same like lovable like hero, raring to go get him type character. He's been doing this for decades, and it's so tiring now. This movie is like this has like the worst dialogue of all time. Like I was groaning like an old door watching this, like at every fucking utterance these characters were making, and like it was just it was torture listening to these corny fucking quips. And as I said, like the non-racing scenes as well they're just filler. They're just worthless. It's shot like a sitcom, not even like a sitcom. It's shot like sitcoms have more like cinematic expression than this. Like it's shot like a feckin' car insurance ad or something. And then like there's like the story itself is just nothing. It's an illusion of a story. It's not even, it's like zero dimensional. It's not even one dimensional, and it's beyond fucking cliched. Like there's no meat on those bones. It's like a whisper. It's like a shadow. It's like a vapor. They're like all to say, there's nothing there. There's no story to this movie. And yeah, the production value is great, like the editing, the sound, and like the well, I think it's like, is it nominated for like cinematography or something? I don't care. But yeah, the editing, the sound, I like the race scenes, I like the point of view shots and all that. But this movie is just bombarded with logos and advertisements and slogans, um, and like before I saw this movie, I thought that like Formula One was just like the name of like the type of sport it was. You know, like how, um, like for example, like the way that it's like soccer and football. You know, like I just thought like it was the name for the type of racing. I didn't realize that it was the name of the brand of the type of racing. Like I didn't know that F1 was the same as like Coca-Cola. I didn't know that Formula 1 was like a copyright franchise. You know, like it's more than just the sport. It's like the whole entity, the whole like circus surrounding it. So it makes sense that this got a Best Picture nomination because they probably paid for it. That's my guess because there's no way that this deserves a Best Picture nomination. Um, and this thing is loaded with ads. Like it's very slimy. There's even like Brad Pitt on the poster. He's covered head to toe in ads. Like for fuck's sake. There's ads for fucking cryptocurrency. I think there's ads for like Heineken Zero in this, but it's a PG-13 movie, and I find that very despicable because, in case you didn't know, when they're advertising like the zero alcohol brands, they're not actually advertising the zero alcohol. Like they don't give a fuck about serving the like teetotal non-drinkers in the consumer base. No, they did that because there's restrictions on when you can advertise alcohol, and they made these like alcohol free brand like versions of their brand so they can put Heineken in a PG-13 movie without it being illegal. Like look up Guinness Clear. Like I think that's a very like that's a bit more of a an honest example of that because at least they're not pretending they're not pretending to be advertising a real product in those adverts. But yeah, it's a very cynical, inorganic, lab grown film, and it was ordered into existence by a faceless committee. It at least tries to offer a good time, but it's weighed down by the shackles of its corporate servitude. And Formula One is not a real sport, it's just an elaborate ploy to give people gambling addictions, and I wholeheartedly believe that nobody actually enjoys watching it. And I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10 before I get too angry about it. Next one, alright, next one is Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro um, directed it. It has Jacob Elordi, Oscar Isaac, Mila Goth, and what's his name, Christoph Waltz. You'd think that Guillermo del Toro would be born to adapt Frankenstein. I mean, his whole thing is about gothic monsters and like people falling in love with like you know humanoid monster things. But I don't know. I don't know. This is one of this might be my least favorite GDT movie. Like holy Christ, this thing's so boring. It's so fucking boring. And I've watched this like I watched it like before Christmas, and I have nothing to say about this. I have nothing to really say about it. Like nothing stuck with me. It just passed right through me. It was like, oh fuck, I dropped, fuck, I dropped my mic. It was like water. Not even like water. It was more passive than that. It was like breathing air. It's like, and it's out of you. It's out. It's gone back into the atmosphere. Um, it's I think I'd like this more if it felt less like a Netflix production. And what I mean by that is that it has this very inorganic, very digital kind of look to it. Like especially with those sailors towards the start. I think they kind of crop up throughout the movie, like because I think it's all flashbacks or whatever. Anyway, those sailors they look like shit. They look like Polar Express characters. And the background, like you can kind of see the green screen. Not that you can see the green screen, but you can tell, like when it you can tell like when the background, like the digital background, starts and ends. And it's going to win the makeup Oscar. That's for certain. I mean, they put a lot into the campaign, showing off that fat suit, the rubber like blubbery kind of thing they put over Jacob Elordi, and that's really cool. Like I think that's the highlight of the movie for me is that design and it's I mean if any movie's going to win, it's going to be this. Um, but what I don't like about this movie, like the one thing that I do remember about this movie that I don't like, is that I don't like how the characters are hot. I don't like that. I don't like how Oscar Isaac has this really modern, like, it's like he has a haircut from like the 2020s, and I don't like how they make him out to be a heartthrob. I don't like how the monster itself is made out to be like this kind of like sex symbol as well. Like everyone here is like a model. Everyone here is like, it feels like a Halloween party or something for like I don't know, Gucci models or something, and I just find that distracting. Again, it's the same with the Brad Pitt thing. I just find like sex appeal being brought into everything distracting, because I want characters to look like shit. I want characters to look ugly. It's Victorian era. The other guy is a fucking monster. I want them to look grungy and sweaty. Like, bear in mind, I mean, I just praised Jesse Plemons for looking like shit, and I'm going to praise another actor for another movie that's coming up for looking like shit as well. So maybe this is just a personal preference for me, but I just don't like the clean, sanitized, airbrushed appearance to everything about this, from the cinematography to the colors to like the green screens to the characters. And also, the only thing I remember is they literally have someone say, "You're the monster, Frankenstein," or something like "You're the real monster," or something. I wrote a letterboxed review for this as well, so I'm going to just check this real quick, because I don't like for anything else that I thought, because there's nothing coming to mind right now for what I thought of this, and I just want to move on. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just said everything that I said here. It was boring, and everyone looked like they had their eyebrows plucked. And I'm sorry if I probably should have been able to say more about this, but I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to move on. Yeah, 5 out of 10. It's like the most like just in and out type movie. Oh, and I should mention it's nominated for 8 Oscars, and I think it probably deserves the hair and makeup one the most. Hamnet. Right, I did a review for Hamnet. I did the review after I'd seen the movie, and it's just gotten worse for me the more I let it sit with me. Like, the more I think about this movie, the more I'm like, I really just did not like this movie at all. It's directed by Chloe Zhao. It has Jesse Buckley, who I really love, and what's his name? Paul Mescal, another Irish actor who I'm very lukewarm on. I've already reviewed it, so I'm not going to really repeat a lot of the things that I said about it. But Jessie Buckley sucks in this movie. She doesn't. She tries, but her performance is very inorganic, and I don't like how you can tell that she's gunning for her Oscar in the performance. You can see it behind her eyes. You can see that's what her real motivation is. It's not like, oh, the tragedy, the emotions of the character. It's Jessie Buckley is like picturing her Oscar during every scene, and it sucks because I think she deserved an Oscar ages ago, and it sucks that this is what she's finally getting her Oscar for, is this subpar performance that is nowhere near her best. And yeah, Paul Mescal doesn't fucking suit the role at all. I don't know. I like the ending. I like the third act. I kind of like that the most about it. But yeah, Jesus. This is another thing. I probably should have started with this, but I'm gonna sound like I hate movies. Like, I kind of danced around it at the intro, but it's these Oscars are like the most boring Oscars of all time, and I'm gonna sound like I hate movies, because there's so many just dreadful, fucking bores, just wastes of time being nominated here, and I'm just gonna be whinging. I'm gonna be complaining. I'm gonna sound like I don't like movies, which is not the case. It's only because these aren't the only movies that exist. But Hamnet, it has 8 Oscar nominations. I forgot to mention that. The only one I think it deserves maybe is the costume design. That's it. I know Buckley's going to win. I don't think she deserves to win. She has better performances. And what was I going to say? I gave Hamnet a 5 out of 10 when I originally saw it, when I originally reviewed it. The longer I let it sit with me, the worse it gets for me, and I'm just going to give it, like, I have to give it a 4 now. I feel like I have to give it a 4. It just did not vibe with me, and I feel like I was being generous giving it a 5. I was being way too generous for this. Next up is Marty Supreme, directed by Josh Safdie, another film that I reviewed. It has 9 nominations. I'm not going to spend too long on this because, again, I've already reviewed it. Timothée Chalamet deserves to win the Oscar here. This is his best performance by far. It's his. I hope to see like a change in his career going forward. I hope to see him take more prestigious roles like after this. Like I hope he kind of moves past the kind of like twink teen kind of heartthrob, type. Like he's a real character actor here in this. Like it's the first time where I saw the character and not Timothée Chalamet, which is great. And his character is like so well performed here. He's such a nasty fucking bastard in this, and like everything down from like his posture to like even his teeth are kind of fucked up. Like I love that about this movie. I love how defined and fully realized his character is. And there's a great One O Tricks Point Never score, which didn't get nominated for some reason. And the whole thing has this chaotic flow to it, just one thing after another, doesn't stop. It's like a heart attack on a plate, basically. Yeah, I really loved it. I think it definitely deserves, like Timothée Chalamet definitely deserves to win for this, and I think it might deserve editing. I'm not too sure if it's nominated. I think it is. But yeah, Marty Supreme. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Right. So next film is One Battle After Another, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. I think this is his 10th film. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my favourite filmmakers, and I feel like with each film he makes, he kind of switches it up a bit. This time he's taken a massive swing, making this kind of like subversive action movie. Like the thing about this movie is that you can't really sum it up in one sentence. There's so much going on that to try and sum it up is like doing it a disservice because you're leaving out so much. But subversive action movie is probably the best. Way to describe it. It has 13 nominations, and I think it deserves every single one that it got. I don't know if it's going to win every single one, because there might be some, in some categories, there might be some, like, I don't know, like, there might be something else nominated that might be better, but I still think it deserves every nomination. Yeah, it deserves every nomination, but not every win. But it would be nice if it won everything. It's like, how do I describe it? It's like an action film, but also at the same time, like it's kind of schlocky and stupid. Is like a good way to describe it. Like I love this movie, but I would describe it as being schlocky and stupid. But it kind of embraces that, but it also has this like meticulousness to it. Like with other Paul Thomas Anderson films, like it has this kind of like really impressive like sense of direction, and you wouldn't really expect it, coming from a movie like this. You wouldn't really expect like this type of action movie to feel so like so visionary, and it has like this kind of like political angle to it, although I don't really find the politics of this movie to be that profound, but I do find them to be kind of vague enough, not really vague enough, but loose enough that you can kind of apply them to like I guess different facets, and like you can like interpret it in different ways. Not like politically. I mean like you could like view it as a metaphor for X, Y, Z. It isn't just about the politics of the film. And on the other side as well is that it's like a parody of Star Wars as well, is another thing that I found out, which is very very interesting. And it's also like a personal love letter from Paul Thomas Anderson to his family, and you can kind of tell that by watching it, because PTA is the father of like mixed race children, so it makes sense to view Leonardo DiCaprio's character as like a stand-in for him, and I find that very compelling, the idea of like how he views himself compared to his family. But that's just like the movie in broad strokes. Like I kind of have to talk about it in like kind of granular detail. Leonardo DiCaprio, like I think a lot of people have to admit now, I think we all have to admit that Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the best comedy actors like of all time. Like he is just so perfect in this. He is so goddamn funny. I love how washed up he is. I love how crusty he is. I love how you can tell he stinks of fucking sweat and fucking grunge. Um, and he reminded me of like a bit of like the Big Lebowski, but also he reminded me a lot of Ryan Gosling in The Nice Guys, like this kind of lovable, dopey schlub who's constantly fucking up and is constantly getting like things wrong. There's like a sequence in this movie where he has to remember a password, and I just love how it goes on forever. I love how it just hits the breaking point. It just hits the point of frustration, and it keeps going. Um, and of course, the performances here across the board are all great. I mean, Chase Infinity's great, Deanna Taylor's great. Benicio del Toro is just perfect in this role. He's doing the best. Like he's perfectly cast in this. It's the type of character that I think he's born to play, and I think Sean Penn gives one of the best, like probably the best performance of last year. Like Sean Penn, like I think if it's a fair world, I think Sean Penn deserves the Oscar. I love how fucking over the top his character is. His character is so beyond bombastic, so just larger than life, but at the same time, he feels legitimately threatening. He feels like a legit villain. Like he feels like an actual, um, intimidation. Like he feels like an actual intimidating character, which I love. Despite how cartoonish he is, like he is so evil and unlikable that it makes him so compelling and watchable. And I just love how fucking gross he is as well. There's that shot of him like sucking on a comb before like using it, like all that stuff. Like even like the way he walks as well. Like everything about him is just memorable. um, there's Johnny Greenwood's score as well, which it's interesting because on paper it wouldn't really work the way it does because it's a very simple score and it's a very repetitive score and it's used throughout nearly the entire film, but it works so perfectly to evoke the emotions of each scene, and it just flows so well, it gels so well. It's like the cement that brings everything together, and it gets to a point where it's like just so ingrained into the experience that like it would not work at all without it. And I think that's leads me to like another thing as well, is like the pacing of this film is so good that it's nearly 3 hours long, and the entire second half of this movie flows like one whole cohesive scene. Like the entire second half of this movie flows so fucking perfectly, so seamlessly. Like it's so streamlined, it's so to the point that like you wouldn't even realize that it goes on for so long, and it just keeps up this energy for so long that it's honestly just entrancing. And to not to spoil it, but this movie ends with one of the most memorable car chases I think I've ever seen. It's a car chase that like I literally cannot stop thinking about it. I cannot stop thinking about the car chase at the end of one battle after another. It's so intense, it's so striking visually. It like every time I go over a bump on the road, over like an incline on the road, I think of this movie. um so one battle after another, in case you couldn't tell, I loved it. It's yeah, it's like a bit of everything, and it does it all so well. And I'm dying to see it again. I did buy the Blu-ray, one at a time, please, ladies. And it's one of PTA's best, which is saying a lot because PTA has one of the strongest filmographies out there, and it's my favorite movie of 2025. As of recording this, although I think it's probably going to stay that way. Um, and yeah, I think this one deserves Best Picture, deserves supporting actress, supporting actor, cinematography, editing, like everything. Like I know, like I'm not listing off every single nomination, but yeah, I love this movie. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. All right. Oh god. Still talking about fucking movies. Okay. So the last few, I'm just gonna run through it. So, The Secret Agent. Oh god, I didn't write down the fucking director's name. What's his name? Secret Agent. I'd seen one of his other movies before. I know It stars Wagner Moura, who's nominated for lead actor. So, The Secret Agent, directed by Kleber Mendonça Filho. Didn't pronounce that correctly at all. Secret Agent, it's like a I don't know, it's like a period piece, and it tries to evoke kind of like 70s style filmmaking, which I thought was fun. My favorite, this is going to sound so fucking lame. It's going to sound so underwhelming, but my favorite thing about this movie is the color correction, is the color palette. I love how this thing looks. I love how like the browns and the yellows and like all those hues kind of like pop out of the screen. It feels very vibrant. Wagner Moura gives a very low key performance. It's a very good performance, but I personally wouldn't have nominated him, but I'm not really going to complain because it is a good performance. This movie is nearly three. It's like the same length as One Battle After Another. But unlike One Battle After Another, which has such a electric pacing, this movie is like the opposite. It's like it has the momentum of a jellyfish. It's like trudging through knee-high treacle, with your shoelaces tied together. Yeah, I just didn't vibe with this movie at all. I just found like I wasn't getting nearly as much as I was putting into it. I found it kind of exhausting, and the kind of structure of it, I kind of found it to be unsatisfying and distracting. How it keeps cutting back and forth between two different timelines. Honestly, it kind of felt unnecessary, and maybe it probably would have worked better. If they kind of kept that part to a minimum or something. I don't know. I liked the part where it turned into a horror movie. That was fun. But yeah, I just really didn't connect with this movie at all, and I was honestly just waiting for it to end after a certain point. Oh yeah, just I remember what I was going to say. This director, I have seen other movies from him. I'd seen Bacurau, which I enjoyed more. Bacurau was kind of like this grindhouse like mess of a movie. There's like messy in kind of a good way, where they're just throwing in so much different stuff at once. It's like an action adventure mystery sci-fi horror thriller thing, grindhouse thing. I don't know, but Bacurau was interesting because it was like a metaphor for itself. And I'd watch it again. I would happily watch Bacurau again. How long is it? How long is Bacurau? All right, it's about 2 hours. But Secret Agent, yeah, I just didn't really get enough about it, and also I didn't like how it turned into a PowerPoint presentation at the end. Like it just turns into kind of like a lecture at the end, which I just didn't really vibe with. But yeah, Secret Agent, 5 out of 10. Yeah, just not for me. There was like brief, like momentary things in it that I enjoyed, but yeah, nominated for 4 Oscars as well. It'll probably win the international film one, even though I prefer other films in that category. Right, my voice is dying. Sentimental Value, Joachim Trier. I talked about this. I was so bored watching this movie. I went into this movie wanting to like it. I went into this like ready. I wasn't big on The Worst Person in the World, and because it had such a like universal acclaim, I felt guilty. I felt bad that I didn't like Worst Person in the World. I kind of viewed it as though it was like my fault or something. Like I felt like, oh no, it's like there's something wrong with me. I'm the problem that I don't like this movie. So I went into Sentimental Value like going like, okay, I kind of, it's going to be similar to, it's the same director. I'm going to expect, like I know what to expect based on Worst Person in the World. I went in, I was sat up straight, like no fidgeting, eyes forward, just like ready to absorb this film. The first 30 minutes happened, I really liked it, and then over the course of the film, I just wanted to leave. I was like, this sucks. This is so boring. It just wasn't enough for me. There wasn't enough of a hook for me to get into this. And when I say hook, I don't just mean narrative. I mean like filmmaking as well. There was nothing about it that was really dazzling me or wowing me or stimulating me in any way. And I wanted to leave. I was at a film festival, and I would have felt guilty leaving at a film festival because it was like the first film I was watching at this festival as well. But I think if I saw this at home, I would have turned it off. I would have turned it off if it was on Netflix or something. If I saw it at a cinema, like just a normal cinema, I probably would have walked out. And I know that sounds harsh because I want to watch this again. A part of me wants to give this a second chance, but another part of me thinks that like that's a bad idea, because I kind of feel like I'm going to get the same experience that I got the first time, which sucks because I don't know. It's just every time I give like a film that I didn't really like it. Well, not every time, but there have been so many times where I give a film a second chance and I just end up having the same experience. So if I am ever going to return to this, I'm going to wait a while. I'm going to wait a few years, because maybe it's like, it kind of is like a bit of a mature movie, and maybe I need to kind of get older, even though I'm fucking old enough already. Um, it's nominated for 9 Oscars. Stellan Skarsgård was good, but I think there was better performances in that category. Um, I liked it more than The Secret Agent, because I kind of feel like there's a bit more to the characters. So maybe this deserves the International Film Award more. But yeah, this just I don't think there's anything wrong with the movie. I can see why people like it. I understand the substance of it. I understand the context, the subtext of it, the fucking the meat of it. But it just did not resonate with me at all, and I just had a very visceral, response to it, where I just wanted to reject it. I just wanted to get away from it. But yeah, 5 out of 10. Yeah, I wish I liked this more. I really do, but I'm not. I'm just being honest here. I have to be honest. I didn't connect with it at all, so I have to give it a 5 out of 10. Right. So the big one for this year is Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, 16 Oscar nominations. Stars Michael B. Jordan and Jack O'Connell and Delroy Lindo, and some other actors whose faces I can picture, but whose names I can't recall. So Sinners. So instead of jumping into the review for this movie, I'll give some context for like my experience watching it. So this movie gets released and it gets like a lot of praise. I noticed that it had like a 83 Metascore or something. I saw that like it got like a lot of 10 out of 10 scores on Letterboxd, and I was like, oh, cool! Like we're getting a great movie here. I was interested. I was like, great! I'm hyped for this. I'm raring to go for this. I was really looking forward to it. The trailer didn't really give enough away, so I was kind of intrigued by like what is this? Where is it going? I'm not really. I knew it was about vampires, but like what? Like vampire hunters or something? I don't know. And I was also excited because Ryan Coogler is kind of like a Marvel director, but he kind of started out as like an indie, Fruitvale Station, and I think Creed as well. Creed wasn't really indie, but he was a small enough director. He got lucky, he got chosen to do like one of the Marvel projects, and he then broke out, and now he's able to make something like Sinners. And I was like, okay, Marvel is just like I was thinking like, okay, Marvel is just him, paying his dues, doing the one for them, one for me sort of thing, and when I watch like one of Ryan Coogler's Marvel movies, I don't feel like I'm watching a Ryan Coogler movie. I feel like I'm watching a Marvel movie. So I was excited to finally see, a Ryan Coogler movie, like a proper big one as well, because I think Fruitvale Station was the other one I'd seen, and that's like a very small, compact type movie, and I wanted to see him, with more resources at his disposal. So I go to see this movie, and I was ready for this. I was so hyped. And I watched this movie, and it was one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had watching a movie. To call it overhyped is like an understatement. So first of all, this movie is beyond feckin' cheesy. It is one of the cheesiest, corniest movies of all time. To the point where I cannot take any of it seriously. I cannot, this movie is trying so hard to be cool. It's trying so hard for you to take it seriously that I just can't. Even Michael B. Jordan's face on the poster, I just can't. I can't be dealing with that. What is that? What emotion is that trying to convey? And I think that kind of explains that sums up Michael B. Jordan's performance in this movie for me, is that the whole thing is like he's flexing, he's posing, he's mugging the camera. He's trying so hard to look cool. Like he's trying to flex for the camera. Is how I describe it. And I just can't buy into that. And speaking about Michael B. Jordan's performance, first of all, he doesn't really do much to differentiate the two. Like he plays twins, so he doesn't really do much between each performance to really differentiate them. So to be honest, like for a lot of the movie, I couldn't tell who was who. Um, Maybe that was intentional. Maybe it was like what's that Cronenberg movie called? Maybe it was like what's it called? Dead Ringers. Maybe it was like Dead Ringers were like the whole point, or like maybe it doesn't matter. But I don't know. I kind of feel like with everything else with this movie, like how it over explains everything else in its like in its story. I kind of feel like it was probably just a misfire on their part. The compositing of the two Michael B. Jordans on screen, like I don't want to say it sucked, but I could tell. Like I could notice the split screen. I could notice like the kind of weird kind of digital smear in the frame. And like I'm sorry, but like this is gonna sound so. I watched Norbit recently, and Norbit has better compositing than this. I'm sorry, like it does. It's more seamless. Um, and and then again, Michael B. Jordan, he has no chemistry with himself. He's like, how do you have no chemistry with yourself? That like it's two shit performances, two wooden performances interacting with each other, and they're both like flexing and mewing at the camera. And I can't. Like I don't buy into it. Like I just see Michael B. Jordan, and I almost feel like there's like a nervousness in him. Like I almost feel like he's nervous in front. Like he's camera shy or something. I don't know. I feel like he's not comfortable on camera. I don't know. That's just like the weird vibe I got off of it. So the first hour of this movie is just nothing but setup. The whole first hour is just them walking around, meeting a character, having an extended conversation with them, and then moving on to the next character. And I just got sick of that so quickly, like because the pacing was at a standstill, and they just meet a character, and the character will just declare what their relationship is with one of the Michael B. Jordans, and then repeat it, and then Michael B. Jordan will repeat it, and they'll just keep drilling it into your head, like who this character is and like why they're important. And then if that weren't bad enough, the movie will go on, and then it'll flash back to that like one of the conversations they had to remind you like who this character is. Like, come on, it was kind of it's patronizing, it's aggravating. It doesn't really it feels like it doesn't trust the audience to kind of infer any piece of information. It just has to fly tip it on top of you. It's almost like this is the character. Do you understand? Do you see him? That's the like it's patronizing. Like I'm sorry. And then the second half happens, and I get that like what the movie's going for. It's like an allegory for like like black people and minorities or like oppressed people having to make their own spaces, and those spaces are important for them to like to exist and have them develop their own culture, and like to keep themselves safe, and to flourish and to nourish themselves, and develop a sense of community. And then like the oppressors will come along and will try to infiltrate it, hence the metaphor of the villains being vampires. How like the vampires will bite you, and then you become a vampire, and then it's like they're kind of like creepy, like it's like they're infecting their way into the space, they're infiltrating it. So like a couple of things, like first of all, like they do the thing where like the vampires can't enter a place unless you invite them, and that works like in the context of like vampires being folklore, because it kind of acts as like a fable. The idea that like the vampires are evil, and you can't let the vampire into your home, into your life, without you accepting it. It's like saying no to a vampire at your doorstep is the same as saying no to drugs. It's something like that. Like how like the bad things happen to you are like partially on your responsibility, and you need to like identify the threat and like deny it and like close the door on it. So they bring that piece of like vampire lore into this movie, and I was thinking like, oh, The vampires can't get in, they're stuck, and I was thinking like, oh, they're gonna like, it's gonna be like Die Hard or something, the vampires are gonna figure out a way to get in. I thought like, oh, there's gonna be something clever. Like surely it's not going to end with some character like just saying to come in. Like, oh, they're gonna trick a character to let them in. Oh, that'd be kind of stupid, wouldn't it, for them to trick a character into saying to come in? Uh, that would be that'd be really stupid, wouldn't it? No, not only that, a character knowingly tells them to come in. Like, come on, this is so stupid. It's so. Not to mention how, like, most of the movie is just them locked in a stalemate. Like, they don't even do anything, they're just waiting to be let in. So, most of the movie, there's no tension, there's no threat. The threat is just taken care of, like, just immediately. Um, so yeah, so like you're just waiting for one of the characters to fuck up, but no, like they don't even fuck up. They just do it. Like what? Why? I don't mean like why does the character do it? Like why did they write it to be like that? Like the least satisfying way for this conflict to play out. And then to get into the allegory that I was talking about earlier. So the allegory works, makes sense. It's a solid allegory. I agree with it. I vibe with it. Um, I like what it's trying to say until you actually start to think about it and realize like the movie doesn't even make sense, and in that regard like it fails to take it to the finish line. If the oppressors, like the vampiric parasitic oppressors who are trying to infiltrate the other cultures and erase the other cultures and make them their own, why is the villain Irish then? Because Ireland was a colonized culture. Like the Irish character should be in the barn with the black people and the Asian people and the other minorities. Like Ireland is not the oppressor here. Ireland is far from this. Like Ireland is one of the victims in this scenario. So to make the villain Irish, like the metaphor falls apart then, because that doesn't make sense. It should be maybe a British person or a French person, because they're the colonizers, not the Irish person. So, it, like, the way I interpret it is like they just thought, oh, it'd be cool if he was Irish. It'd be more distinct or something. Like they didn't really think about it, which kind of shows like maybe like a bit of ignorance on their part, that they were trying to make a movie about like commentating on like race, but then they kind of didn't give a fuck about what the race of the villain would be, which I would argue would be the most important aspect of it. Um, but yeah, why was the villain Irish? Like Ireland literally has its culture, um, erased. Like the reason why Irish people speak English is the same reason why African Americans are speaking English as well. It's the same people did that to both of us. Um, but yeah, that frustrates me, because it's like the one thing the movie had to redeem itself for me, because I just did not enjoy the surface level experience of this movie at all. And I was willing to give it props for that, but when I dug deeper into it, it doesn't. It just falls apart even more. It doesn't make sense. It's like built on a foundation of sand. And then not to even mention like how ridiculous the action is, like how sloppily and poorly thought out a lot of it is. Characters are teleporting. Characters are having the most cartoonish shootouts. Like this movie has a shootout at the end where it's like 20 guys shooting at Michael B. Jordan. He's not even taking cover. He's just like in the middle of a car park or something. And there's like a point where he stops. He puts his gun down, reaches down to pick up another gun, like which he buried earlier. So like he knew, like he knew where to stop. And the entire time it's like he's not reaching for cover, and there's like 20 guns aimed at him, and it's very poorly edited. It's not really communicated well, because the entire time I'm thinking like, why isn't he dead? And I feel like there probably was a way to direct and edit this scene to not make it look sloppy as hell, but they either didn't know how to do it or didn't care. And then also, as I said earlier as well, there's a scene where like a character teleports as well. They're like inside the barn, and then the next shot then they're in like a lake or something, which is so stupid. And then the post-credit scene of this movie, I just can't take it seriously anymore. I see like I just see the two characters walking through the door, and it looks I can't shake the image of like they're posing, they're flexing, they're mugging. I can't shake that image. I don't buy into these as real characters. So that's Sinners in a nutshell for me. I'm not being contrarian because One Battle After Another and Marty Supreme were two movies that I loved. This is a movie, like, I'm being honest here. This is my honest reaction to this movie. 16 nominations, the most nominated movie in Oscars history. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like an interesting movie like fucking. Uh, it's not going to be like an interesting movie like fucking No Other Choice or It Was Just an Accident. No, of course, it's going to be this like watered down, lowest common denominator type movie. Like this feels like a movie made for people who haven't seen that many movies. Like that's how I describe it. And if I'm being honest, I prefer Ryan Coogler's Marvel stuff over this. Yeah, I'm feeling a 4 out of 10. I just did not like this at all, and I did not know what I was meant to get out of it because it was so poorly thought out, so poorly realized, and it was so boring. It was so boring, and it was, yeah, and there's like the fucking wait scene with like the white. I don't know. I'm gonna move on from this. Um, yeah, I'm trying not to be a hater, but yeah, I really did not like this movie at all. If it makes any of you feel better, it's better than Hamlet and F1. And then lastly, Train Dreams is the final nomination, Best Picture nomination. Who is the director? I feel like I should know his name. Clint Bentley. So Train Dreams is based off of a novella. My voice is gone. You can probably hear it. Stars Joel Edgerton, William H Macy, Felicity Jones. This movie's kind of like a good way of describing this movie is that it's like Terrence Malick light in that it's like very focused on like the cinematography, the imagery of nature, and this kind of like dreamlike flowing kind of like carefree kind of pacing to it, where there's no real structure. It's all kind of like flowing, as the character like wanders around. Yeah, this movie looks incredible. It's one of the best looking movies. It's one of the best looking movies of the year. I love the imagery, the aspect ratio, the lighting, like how nature and the weather was incorporated was very effective, very striking. And there's like a lot of shots of like the characters being like diminished into like a forest or like the natural setting or like the landscape, which I just found to be very evocative. Is that the right word? Like it was just very striking imagery, and like there's just some jaw-dropping scenes in this. Joel Edgerton is very reserved in this, and William H Macy is very colorful, very bright. He's like one of the most entertaining, one of the most memorable characters in the movie, and I'm kind of shocked that he didn't get a supporting actor nomination. The score is gentle and tender, and I loved the atmospheric sound design. And even like the narrator has this like warm like timbre to his voice, which I think adds a lot to the story. The film is so like emotionally heavy as well that it's almost like overwhelming. Like I feel like I've lived a lifetime after watching this film, which is insane considering how it's under 2 hours in length. Like it's well under 2 hours in length. And thematically and emotionally, I was reminded a lot of Helplessness Blues by Fleet Foxes, which is a great album about being overwhelmed by the vastness of the world and feeling insignificant by your place within it. So yeah, there was like a few like weird moments with like the editing that were kind of sloppy, and it's a bit Oscar baity. But I think it's a very thoughtful, very incredible film. I really love the ending. Although I can kind of see like why like a lot of people might not like it. And yeah, it's just a very overwhelming film. Like it's a very depressing film, and I just found it to be just wrought with emotional turmoil, which is strange because it's the same guys who made like Clint Bentley and Greg Quader. Greg Quader was the writer. They did like a role reversal because Greg Quader was the director of Sing Sing and Clint Bentley wrote it, and I didn't really get that much out of that movie at all. Whereas this movie, I feel like it's much more I feel like it's much more substantial and impressive and memorable. But yeah, I really like this movie, Train Dreams. I feel like there's a lot to pick apart as well on the subtext, and I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Alright, it's been a couple of days since I recorded that last part. I don't remember what I said exactly. It was a bit of a haze. It was a bit of a blur. Hopefully, I don't say anything that I will regret. Anyway, I'm going to go through the rest of the nominees in alphabetical order. Um, Between recording the last part and now, I've now seen two other of the nominees. So now there's one nominee that I haven't seen. If if I do end up seeing it before the Oscars, I'll uh, you know talk about it and then punch in my thoughts um, after the fact. But anyway, we'll do this in alphabetical order. This is all the feature length non Best Picture nominees. I'm not going to do any of the shorts, so sorry to like the two people in the whole world that give a shit about the short categories. Um, so we'll start off now. The Alabama Solution. This is directed by Andrew Jarecki and Charlotte Kaufman. Charlotte Kaufman is notable because I think she's the daughter of Lloyd Kaufman, the famous kind of B movie exploitation grindhouse horror schlock um, comedy like gorefest director. I haven't seen any of his movies. Trauma is the name of the studio. I think that's where James Gunn got famous. I haven't seen any of those movies, but you kind of have to see that. If you see like a 5 second clip, you know exactly what they're all about. Um, so Alabama Solution is not like that at all. In fact, it's a very serious and depressing movie, a documentary rather, about um, like the state of the prison systems in Alabama, and I guess by extension, it kind of references how there's bad conditions across the whole country. This is a very upsetting documentary. It's very difficult to watch at points. The footage here is, not for the faint of heart. It's like a lot of brutality, a lot of dehumanization. It's very difficult to stomach, and it's just straight up horrific. Like it's a horrific documentary. It's just a bombardment, just nonstop. Um, unpleasant imagery of like real life things that are people have to endure. Um, every single authority figure um, in this documentary speaks in a manipulative kind of propagandic language, and and what was I saying? Jesus Christ, I'm losing my fucking. Oh my god, sorry, I'm tired. I'm doing this raw. I'm doing this live. I'm not cutting any of this out. But as a documentary, it's presented in a straightforward kind of standard manner. It's a bit Netflixy. That's kind of like a term I use to describe documentaries where like it's kind of minimal on visual language, which kind of sucks because that's kind of what documentaries are now. But still, regardless of that, um, I think that this is a pretty great documentary. It's kind of an eye opener. I mean, I didn't know about any of this stuff before seeing it, and I feel like it's one of those documentaries where its message is more important than the film itself. It's more of just a soapbox than an actual like cinematic experience, which there's merit to both. Don't worry, it's not like that devalues it in any way. But I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10. I forget if I'm doing scores. Yeah, fuck it. I forget if I forget if I even scored the best picture nominees. I think I did. Yeah, 7 out of 10 for Alabama Solution. Next one is Arco, directed by Hugo Bienvenu. This is like an anime-inspired French movie that's aimed at small kids. I couldn't really get into it. I thought it was very boring. The sci-fi stuff wasn't really that engaging or even like that interesting. The characters were extremely irritating, and the only thing I can say about it is that it at least looked nice. And I was constantly reminded of Mars Express, which is anime inspired French movie as well, but it's made for adults and it actually is exciting and engaging and thought provoking and very underrated. So the one thing you should take away from this is to watch Mars Express and not Arco, which I'm going to give Mars Express a very high 9 out of 10. It's probably the best animated film this decade, if I'm being honest. And then Arco, I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. Like I mean, yeah, it's just not for me. Just really have no strong opinions on it. I just didn't enjoy myself at all watching it. Um, Speedrunning these now. Avatar: Fire and Ash is nominated for visual effects and I think costume design. James Cameron's latest passion project. It's like 3.5 hours long, and I'm just so fed up with this franchise already. I'm just so done. I don't care. I don't care about anything that happens here. I don't care. Like I can't even, like, I'm sorry, like, if you wanted me to speak about this in a more, in-depth way, I just can't. I can't with this film. I just don't care. Like everything that I could possibly say about this is just going to fall back to how little I give a shit about any of the characters or the story or the setting or how, and I think that kind of just speaks to how uninspired and trite the actual film itself is. The visual effects look great. It's going to win the visual effects Oscar, even though I think the visual effects are a major step down compared to the previous one. And yeah, there's just, yeah, I don't know, Spider's an annoying character. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why these need to be 3.5 hours. I feel like I would have been a bit more positive on this, a bit more lenient on it, a bit more willing to spend my time with it if it was like 2 hours long, which is like it doesn't even need to be over to, like, I think this could be like an easy like hour 45, but I have a theory that like a lot of movies make them, like, they inflate their run times to give them this like appearance of being grand and huge and like they're these events, you know. Um, I was going to give this a 1 out of 10 just out of pure protest, just out of pure like fuck you, I don't care, like just no more nuance, no more like being fair, just fuck you, I don't care. Um, that's um, but there was another film that I watched, another nominee that I watched that was so bad, like that was so terrible that it kind of redefined what a 1 out of 10 is for me. So I'm giving Avatar: Fire and Ash a 2 out of 10. Like, it was going to be a one just out of pure malice, just out of pure bitter hatred on my part. Like I'm the first to admit I was not being fair at all. But now, after watching this other film that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be a bit fair on Avatar: Fire and Ash and give it a 2 out of 10. Um, yeah, sorry, I just don't care. I'm going to be a bit negative on a lot of these now, which is unfortunate. But what can you do? Blue Moon, Richard Linklater directed. It has Ethan Hawke, who's nominated for lead actor, and I think it's nominated for either original or adapted screenplay. I don't remember. Oh, I'm so tired. This movie is basically just a one-man show. So, well, not really, but like the entire thing is just Ethan Hawke monologuing to a bunch of characters in the one location. Um, that on its own is not a bad idea because Ethan Hawke is a very good actor and he sells the performance very well. What annoys me about this movie is that the I just didn't give a shit about anything he was saying. The whole thing just kind of washes over me, and I just was not really. There was good stretches in this movie where I was just flat out not really paying attention to what he was saying. I was just completely tuned out. And the one thing that really kind of bothers me about this movie is that I get that he's based on a real person, and that real person happened to be below the average height at the time. I think he's like 5'4" or something, which is not a bad thing. But Ethan Hawke is not 5'4"; he's taller than that. And what they did was, instead of just ignoring his height for the taking a creative liberty and being like, all right, we're going to ignore the fact that this guy was short or whatever, they tried to make Ethan Hawke match that height. So they digitally like shortened him, and it looks ridiculous. I could not take this seriously at all. It looks so stupid. It looks so fake. It looks like the type of like visual effect you'd see in like a Jack Black or like Ryan Reynolds. Like, it reminds me of like a Deadpool joke or something. I just couldn't take it seriously. I could not expect them like that. I just could not understand that that's how they presented the main character and expected me to take it seriously when it was just the most distracting creative choice they could have possibly made. There could have been other options, maybe other avenues. I mean, obviously you don't want to not cast Ethan Hawke because that's kind of the whole point. But if the character being short is that crucial to the story, there's probably more creative ways about it. Like, I don't know, like the Lord of the Rings, like they'd kind of use the Force perspective or whatever. But anyway, maybe I'm asking too much. But I just did not like that creative choice. Yeah, Blue Moon, wasn't really impressed by it. I'm giving it like a 4 out of 10. Maybe it's closer to a 5, but yeah, 4. I just really that digital shortening just really pushed it over the edge for me. Um, Next one is Come See Me in the Good Light, directed by Ryan White. It's up for Best Documentary. It's a very intimate film, and that's all I can really say about it. It's a very upsetting film because it's about someone having cancer, and obviously that's very upsetting. Just not just for them, but for like everyone in their life. But yeah, I don't know. I have nothing really to say about this documentary. I don't know. I have like a letterbox review here that I'm like kind of using as like a support, and I don't remember any of this at all. Like I don't like I saw this movie like 2 weeks ago, and I don't remember anything about it at all. Yeah, the characters were kind of like, it's an intimate documentary, but it kind of felt like that the characters were putting up a performance, and there are parts where you see like cell phone footage, like home videos of these characters subjects, they're real people. You see cell phone footage, like home video of these people, and that is so much more like, that's kind of what I was looking for from this documentary. It's so much more authentic. It's so much more raw and unprocessed. Like seeing these people interact. And I think it's because they don't have a camera crew inside their house. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I kind of feel bad being negative towards these sorts of documentaries. Being based on real people, real tragedies. Because I feel like being negative towards the documentary almost seems like you're being negative towards the people, when in actuality it's not. The documentary is its own thing. It's separate, and I just don't feel like it did the subject matter justice, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. But I can see why other people like it. I just was not really wowed by this. The next one is hilarious. It's Diane Warren Relentless. Bess Cargman is the director. I don't know who Bess Cargman is. What else did he direct? Jesus Christ, what the hell is this? Okay, he has like, yeah, there's like 4 posters there that I'm not even going to comment on. So in case you don't know who Diane Warren is, she's a songwriter who has been nominated, I think, 17 times. I think this is her 17th nomination for Best Original Song, but she has never won an Oscar yet. I think she's like one of the few people who's been like, I don't know if she's like, how do I phrase it? I don't know if she's like the most nominated person without a win, but she's definitely like one of the most. And what makes her kind of notable as well is that every year for the past 10 years, I believe, maybe, I don't know, I think it's 10 years, she's been nominated every single year for Best Original Song. And what's even more notable about that is that every single time the song sucks, the song is absolutely just piss poor quality. Like AI generated music is better. And not only that, it's always attached to one of the worst movies nominated this year. Watch fucking Tell It Like a Woman if you want a good example. Like, that movie is like a fever dream in how bad it is. Diane Warren Relentless, though, with all that context in mind, Diane Warren Relentless, the documentary, is hilarious because it's basically a for your consideration campaign disguised as a documentary. They made a documentary where Diane Warren, they talk about how great Diane Warren is, how influential she is, how she wrote some hits back in the day for Sure, and I forget who else. And then how she has all these other accolades, but she never got her Oscar, and how it upsets her, and how it would be really nice if she got the Oscar this time. And they sent it to the Academy, and it got nominated, and I guess it worked. I mean, I hope she doesn't win. I hope she doesn't win, not because out of like, oh, she doesn't deserve it or whatever. I hope she doesn't win because it would just be the funniest thing in the world. Like, it would just be so funny if she never ever wins. But yeah, this documentary is basically Diane Warren propaganda, which I think is hilarious. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. I mean, it's probably like the most entertaining a 2 out of 10 movie can be, just purely from the audacity that they had to make this and like send it to the Academy's letterbox. Next up is the. It's not the latest Pixar joint. Hoppers is out now, which I saw and I liked. I'm going to be reviewing that soon. Elio is directed by three different people. What the hell? Madeline Sharafian, Domi Shi, and Adrian Molina. Um, Not much to say about Elio. Like Pixar has just fallen off completely. I mean, Jesus Christ, like they're not even trying anymore. But Hoppers was good. Just pretend Hoppers doesn't exist. For the purposes of the this Elio review. It's made for babies, and I'm not a baby. Like I'm a full grown adult, so if I didn't enjoy it. Yeah, it's like like jangling keys in front of a child wearing a nappy. Like that's kind of what Elio is. Um, and I mean it's fine. Like babies need their entertainment too, but I mean, should it be awarded like the highest prestigious honor an animated film could get? No, like no, go away. 2 out of 10. Elio, yeah, don't watch Elio. Like no, like yeah, there's no reason to watch it. Next film, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, directed by Mary Bronstein. Rose Byrne is up for lead actress for this. She was very good. I wouldn't be upset if she won. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You is like this stressful, abstract, surrealist nightmare type movie. Think something like, it's very similar to something like I'm Thinking of Ending Things or Beau is Afraid or The Machinist or Eraserhead. It's all kind of like non-literal, and there's like a lot of what's it called? There's a lot to like read into, a lot of symbolism, and like a lot of it is a metaphor or an analogy, which I really appreciated. But my biggest issue with this movie, I guess, is personal. It's not like that there's a problem with this movie, but my biggest issue with this movie is that I just found it so goddamn unpleasant to watch. And I get that's kind of the point. Like there's scenes in this movie that are trying to gross you out, and I get that, and it there's room for movies to that's a valid emotion to bring out of audiences, but this time like it wasn't like a fun gross out, it was just a sad, upsetting, unpleasant gross out. It was like watching someone like vomit all over their lap. It's just, oh, that's kind of like not nice to look at, really. But there's a lot of layers to this movie. There's a lot to pick apart. I find it more interesting to talk about this movie than to watch it. I'm never watching this again. I just like I just felt sick after watching it. I had like a headache. There was a pain in my stomach. It felt like yeah, just really put a downer on my day, which is kind of rare because I love miserable films, but this one just really kind of just put a wet blanket over my mood. But yeah, it's I would recommend it. There's a lot to pick apart with it. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 though. It Was Just an Accident is the next film, directed by Jafar Panahi. It's up for international film and original screenplay. I've talked about this before. I think that this film is incredible. I love it. It is easily a top 5 film for me. I think this film has the best tonal balancing I've ever seen in any movie. Like this movie goes from stupid, goofy, slapstick comedy antics, and like it'll then just suddenly switch up to the most harrowing, intense, and stressful, and disturbing like moment like a movie has done this year. Like it's insane like how they are able to balance it so well. Like it never clashes, and sometimes it'll just transition abruptly from one to the other, but it does it so effortlessly. And there's some incredible long takes. I love the use of lighting. I love the story. Like I think this, like I would not be upset at all if this won original screenplay, because the screenplay in this is just incredible. It's very similar to like a Coen Brothers movie. There's lots of like really fun and memorable characters. The central conflict is funny. It's a bit stupid. It kind of makes the characters seem a bit goofy, but the more it goes on, the more it progresses, the more it kind of picks apart this like really dark past that these characters have, and it gets, as I said, it gets kind of stressful and harrowing towards the end, which is commendable given how kind of, I don't want to say light-hearted, but kind of silly some of it is. And yeah, it has like one of the best endings this year. Yeah, I love this movie. I think it deserved more than just 2 nominations, but I'll probably get into that later. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's a very high 9 out of 10. Loved it. Right, Jurassic World Rebirth, directed by Gareth Edwards. This is the movie that saved Avatar from a 1 out of 10. This movie is fucking dog shit. This movie is so fucking bad that I felt like my intelligence was being insulted. Like the level of quality in this film is just below through the fucking floor. It's just rock bottom in movie form. Um, it's like a contender for one of the worst written blockbusters, like of all time, like legitimately. Every character was insufferable, and I hated all of them. They were they were all lobotomized idiots, and then Scarlett Johansson is there, and she's possibly delivering her worst, like career worst performance. Like, yeah, sure, every actor has bad performances, but ScarJo here, she's abysmal, just absolutely abysmal in this. Um, every single comedy moment was lazy, bottom of the barrel shit. Like, just no effort being put in. They don't give a fuck. They're just trying to just shove this out. And like the best way to describe this movie is that it feels too expensive, but also very cheap at the same time. And it has worse CGI than Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, which came out 20 years ago now at this point. Like a movie being released in 2025 should not have worse CGI than Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. And I'm being serious right here. So, this movie is just abysmal, awful in every single way. I don't have the time or the patience to go through every single aspect that annoyed me. It's pure slop. It should be fed to pigs. Like, fuck off with this. Um, like, if this is what like people are watching, then yeah, cinema is probably doomed. It's like a real, it's like made to kind of smooth the wrinkles out of your brain. Like that's what this type of movie is. Um, yeah, I give this a 1 out of 10. This is an easy 1 out of 10. I don't do zeros, but like if I did 0 out of 10s, like this would be a zero. Like this was like a non-starter for me. There was just nothing I liked about this at all. And yeah, Jurassic Park, great movie, but I don't know, The wells run dry, I guess. What's the next nominee? Kokuho, directed by Sang-il Lee. Don't really have much to say about this. It's nominated for makeup effects. It probably deserves it. It probably could have deserved like set design and costume design as well. They were really fun and colorful. Didn't really care about the story. It was too slow and too long. Yeah, 5 out of 10. I just didn't really get much out of it. K-pop Demon Hunters, directed by Chris Applehans and Maggie Kong. I reviewed this already. I thought I was going to hate it. I actually quite liked it. I do have my criticisms of it. I have a review up if you want to get more detail. The songs were catchy. It's nominated for animated feature, which, you know what? I mean, this is a sensation. Like this is everywhere. Like every time I go into a shop, there's like K-pop Demon Hunters merch everywhere, and you can tell that this was a surprise hit because like they obviously had no faith in this by giving it such a descriptive title. Like they gave it, like they didn't call it like Huntrix or like whatever. Like they told you exactly what this movie is before you watch it, so like when you're scrolling Netflix that you're not put off by anything, that you're like more inclined to click on it. Like that's the vibe I get from it. So I guess they're all just shocked that this became like the runaway success that it was. And I mean, I guess I'm happy for them because I mean it could be a lot worse. It could be like, imagine if Jurassic World Rebirth was like the same level of had the same level of positivity. Like Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's up for a song as well. The song was fun. It's not really my thing. Oh yeah, I think I was being a bit too negative on Sinners. I think I might have said something along the lines of, "It doesn't deserve any nomination. It does deserve the song. Sinners deserves the song." That's easily give it to Sinners. It's the best of the five. I'll give it that. And yeah, K-pop. Yeah, I'm done with Sinners. K-pop Demon Hunters. It's fine. It's fun. There's some moments I like. There's a lot of moments that I don't like. it's not really my thing. I can see the appeal. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Yeah, go by the criterion. Next film, Little Emily, or the Character of Rain, directed by Melis Valade and Lian Chohan. Didn't pronounce a single name correctly there. This is a very cute and small and light-hearted animated film about like a 2-year-old girl who I think is implied to be autistic, and it's kind of presented through her perspective. So there's like a lot of like liberties taken with like the visual style of it, and that's all very fun. Like all the like pastel colors and like all the kind of like fantastical way that she views the world and all that. But even though this is like under 80 minutes, I it overstays its welcome, and it kind of feels like a stretched out short, which is unfortunate. Because there's like a lot to appreciate with the animation in this. It might be my favorite out of the animated features category, maybe. Yeah, it probably is. I like it more than K-pop Demon Hunters. But yeah, I'm just a bit. It's just a bit unfortunate that there isn't a really strong animated feature contender this year. I haven't watched a lot of animated films in 2025, so there probably is one out there that probably deserves the win more than these five, but whatever. Yeah, I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. Next up, The Lost Bus, Paul Greengrass. This is like a disaster movie. It's kind of pure schlock. It's just pure bullshit, really. Everyone's an idiot. The main character is kind of a psychopath. Paul Greengrass makes sure that the camera is shaking at every fucking moment so that this movie is as nauseating and as ugly to look at as possible. It's kind of like a very indulgent and gratuitous disaster movie. It kind of feels like it would fit, perfectly in. It would fit very perfectly with like the 70s like disaster movies, like Poseidon Adventure and Earthquake. It's up for visual effects, and yeah, sure, maybe, yeah, it'd be funny if this won over Avatar. It's a very stupid movie, but you know what? I was entertained, so 5 out of 10. I'm probably being very generous for it. It's pure schlock. It's pure bullshit, but I don't know. I wasn't offended by this in any way. Um, Next up is Mr. Nobody Against Putin, directed by David Bornstein. First of all, this has an awful title and an even worse poster. I mean, this probably has one of the worst posters I've ever seen. Look up the poster if you haven't seen it. It is like, it looks like a poster you'd see in like GTA 5 or something. Like when you're driving around, you're going at like 200 miles an hour and it just flashes by. um, um, it's a documentary about this guy, this teacher who um, is upset that there's propaganda being fed to students during the Ukraine war. So he decides to kind of film and document what's being taught to these kids, and like, oh, it's outrageous, like all this stuff. But the problem is that there's so much to say about propaganda and nationalism and patriotism and indoctrination. But this documentary just shows it happening and then cuts back to this guy shaking his head. Like, this guy just inserts himself into this thing. Like, he's the least interesting thing about this. Totally. There was no point having this guy here. Like, if you're going to make a documentary, at least have something to say instead of just being like, hey, here's the thing that happened, and without any further exploration into that topic. And there's also the point of like, as if like propaganda didn't exist before the Ukraine war, and then also there's like these shots where like you see footage of him setting up a camera to record the kid, because like that's kind of his job, is to record like presentations and stuff or whatever. Like, he's not like a pervert or whatever, but like there's like a shot of him setting up a tripod in a classroom, but as I'm watching it, I'm like, so there's another camera recording him setting up another camera. So there's currently 2 cameras in this classroom right now. So like, what's going on to the kids? Because the whole thing is like, oh, he filmed it in secret and all that, and like, you're watching and like surely he had to tell the kids like I'm filming myself, filming ye for this documentary I'm making. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, there's also the fact that I found out after the fact that he kind of like manipulates footage and like misrepresents them. Which, like, to be fair, a lot of documentaries do that. If you watch a nature documentary, you watch a David Attenborough thing. I understand that like they create narratives out of like, it's very easy to spin a narrative out of something. Like documentaries aren't 100% real, but this guy is like taking footage of other things and saying that there's something else, um, and I don't know. That kind of defeats the whole point of this documentary. Then, like he's talking about, oh, there's these kids being drafted into the Ukraine war, but I read something online of people explaining like that military training is obligatory in Russia, so it's more likely that these kids are just doing basic boot camp training, like they're not being sent to the front lines. Um, so this kind of narrative this guy's spinning is kind of fake, like he's faking it for the documentary. Whatever, I don't know. I don't know. Like if that's true, then like this documentary is kind of worthless then because like there isn't really much of a story here to begin with other than yeah there's propaganda in Russia like yeah who knew there's propaganda in American schools as well, like come on and I think that's my biggest issue with this film is like it doesn't really dig that deep into any of the topics. It's more just pointing and shaking its head at it. 4 out of 10. Yeah, it's stupid. Don't watch it. Next up, how many more do we have? Yeah, we only have a few more. Right. Um, The Perfect Neighbor, directed by Gita Gendbeer. This is like a documentary that's filmed. Well, not filmed, but you know what I mean. Like it's presented entirely through police body cameras and other available footage like CCTV, etc. Um, and it's about like an I don't know if I should say like what happens in this. Um, should I? Basically, it's like two neighbors. They aren't on the best of terms, and one is constantly calling the police on the other. Hence, why there's so much police camera footage of this event, and basically it ends up with one of them getting shot. It ends up with someone getting shot, and it turns into this like debate about like stand your ground laws and all that. And I understand that like obviously like that's what the documentary is. Its main focus is that it's meant to be an exploration on like how faulty these laws are and how they're kind of like a gray area and they're not working the way that they're supposed to. And that it kind of enables racial prejudice. But what I took most out of this documentary is I found it to be a very effective character study on the kind of on the perpetrator, like this woman. What's her name? I think it's. I'm not going to say this person in case I get the wrong person's name. But the Karen. If you've seen the documentary, the Karen. I found that to be a very effective character study, and she is a very fascinating person to try and pick apart because I feel like there's so many layers to her. I feel like this documentary, even though like the footage that we were watching wasn't like directed or whatever, that it was all just incidental, like how this footage was captured. Um, yeah, I just found her to be such a bizarre and fascinating person to watch, and I'm well aware as well. She's an awful person and she did an awful thing, and that like um that she basically ruined the lives of countless people. But yeah, I just found it fast from this documentary standpoint, at least anyway. I just found it very interesting how you can see that she's saying one thing, but you can tell she's thinking something else, or you can tell like how she's trying to manipulate others, like in like the very distinct, and certain words that she'd use to kind of sway the narrative in favor of herself. Um, I think the only thing that I didn't really like about it is like the score was a bit generic, and I guess the choice to have body cam footage be used so prominently means that there's a lot of subpar audio, like visuals, but whatever, that kind of comes with the territory. But there's some harrowing footage in this, like those kids, like Jesus Christ, like God love them, like they didn't deserve that at all. Like that is just beyond unacceptable. Like that those kids had to go through that. Like Jesus Christ. Um, and yeah, and then that part at the end, like I just have that like on replay in my head constantly, where like the letter scene. Like I don't want to spoil this, but the letter. I just have that on replay because I feel like that said so much without really saying like a whole lot at the same time. Like it says a lot with a little. But yeah, this is a very upsetting documentary. It's very emotional, um, and it's very heavy. It might ruin your day. It's very similar to the Alabama solution as well. But I found this to be a much better, to be much more engaging in terms of like a filmmaking standpoint, and I found that there was like a bit more layers to it as well. So yeah, I'm honestly I'm going to give this an 8. I was going to give it a 7, but yeah, I'm giving it an 8. Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite documentaries of 2025. Um, right, we're in the home stretch now. Sirat, directed by Oliver Lachey. I talked about this. This is like a bizarre, surrealist, like techno rave movie in a desert. It's kind of like meant to be. I think a lot of it is not meant to be taken 100% literally. It's a very moody film. It's more about the immersive atmosphere. It's very heavy. It's very dense. It's you're meant to just watch it and be completely submerged in it, just completely immersed in the audio and visuals of it. The characters are very fun and entertaining, and they're very memorable. There's some extremely stressful scenes as well. Like there's points where like I was just shocked at that the film was like, daring to go in certain directions, which was it was very interesting. It's nominated for international feature film, which yeah, I wouldn't be upset if it won, and it's also nominated for best sound, which I think it definitely deserves because I saw this in a cinema and I could feel the sound like in my chest. I could feel it like reverberating, like in my body. It was so heavy and thick, and it's more of like an assault on your senses than an actual, you know typical musical experience. But yeah, I can see like a lot of people hating this movie, and I've seen a lot of hate thrown towards it online. But I mean, that was expected because it's a very unconventional and very challenging film. And but I loved it. It's currently in my top 10 of the year. Um, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Moving on. Smashing Machine, directed by Benny Safdie. This is like his solo debut, alongside Josh Safdie's solo debut, Marty Supreme. Smashing Machine is kind of the opposite of a typical Safdie brothers film. It's very mellow, it's very chill, kind of soothing at points, very slow paced as well. It's very slow paced. Stars Dwayne Johnson. It's like his first time giving a real performance, and he's good. He's solid. He doesn't really blow it out of the water, but he's solid. This film is nominated for makeup and hairstyling, and I wouldn't be upset if it won. Um, uh, yeah, it's a. I have my criticisms with this film. Mostly, I think that Emily Blunt's character probably should have been the main character because she had the most going on. She had more going on than Mark Kerr, but I understand that Dwayne Johnson and Mark Kerr are both more notable and recognizable, so they kind of had to make it be about them. But yeah, this film kind of, I think my biggest, the thing I like most about this film, I can't really say because it's kind of a spoiler, but this film kind of is like a meta. There's like a meta narrative going on with this film. It's more about like itself than anything. You kind of have to like watch it in relation to Dwayne Johnson's career. I think is like the best way to get the most out of it. But yeah, I think it's a solid film. Maybe it could have been a whole lot better. The slow pacing and kind of I don't know, kind of uneventfulness of it can put a lot of people off. But yeah, yeah, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a pretty solid film. Song Sung Blue is the next one, directed by Craig Brewer. What else did Craig Brewer do? Oh yeah, it's that guy. The Dolomite is my name guy. This is up for um, what's it called? Kate Hudson. I think she's up for lead actress. This was like a really cheesy, cliched, corny movie that, like, I keep saying, it's something for your parents. It's a good movie that you'd walk in on your parents watching. It's a Neil Diamond tribute band. It has Hugh Jackman in like a stupid sparkly suit. So that's the movie for the most part, and then it turns into fucking Final Destination, and has like one of the wildest tonal shifts I've ever seen in a movie, and I was completely sideswiped by it, by how bizarre and unexpected the turn is, and I couldn't believe that it was the same movie. And then there's like a part where Hugh Jackman is like screaming at his daughter, like begging her to defibrillate him in the middle of a hospital, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? What is what is this? It just turns into complete schizophrenic meltdown thing. Like, it feels like an invasive thought like won over and like invaded the movie. Anyway, yeah, besides that, what like notable tonal shift, there isn't really anything else going on with this film. It's fine, 5 out of 10. I'm not really going to talk about it anymore because I don't want to. The Ugly Stepsister, directed by Emily Blichfeld. Um, this is like a body horror film. It's up for makeup and hairstyling, which is fun. It's cool that a horror film has been recognized, but I just wish it was a better one. It's like the story. If you know anything about the original story of Cinderella, this movie has nothing for you. It has nothing for you to surprise you with, because the climax of this film is like is something that I think a lot of people would be expecting, and there's some gore in this. It's fun. It's squeamish like at points, but um, it's very boring. It's very drawn out, and when it gets to the climax, it's like the most unsatisfying, anticlimactic ending I've seen to a movie in the last year. Like, I remember shouting at the screen, like that's it, that's all there is to this. Yeah, very underwhelming film, and it sucks because there is some great gore effects in this, and I'm happy that got nominated, but yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And again, if you know anything about like the original, like the not kid friendly version of Cinderella, you kind of know what direction this is heading in. Yeah, I thought there was going to be more going on with this, but there wasn't. 4 out of 10. It's, yeah, very underwhelming. Right, next up, Viva Verdi, directed by Yvonne Russo. This kind of came out of nowhere. It's nominated for a song. I remember when this got nominated, it had like 20 ratings on IMDb. Like, literally nobody saw this. I think it did like the rounds in like film festivals, and then I think it got released in, I don't know. I think it got released in, from what I gather anyway. I think, yeah, it got like an extremely limited theatrical release then, I think for like 2 weeks or some shit. But at that time, it wasn't even Oscar nominated, so even if you were able to watch it in this random week in October, like, would you have wanted to at the time? Anyway, this is a very boring, cobbled together documentary about a bunch of old people living in like a retirement home, and they're all opera singers or whatever. Like, I'm sorry now, but like, this doesn't even have a fucking pulse. I mean, it feels like a student film, and it's barely passable as it would have been barely passable as like a 10-minute long short film. And yeah, nobody would have watched this if it weren't for the Oscar nomination, and even then, it's not worth it. So yeah, 3 out of 10. Don't watch it, and I mean, you have to really dig to find it as well. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's not meant to be. It's not meant for human eyes. The Voice of Hind Rajab, directed by Kauthar Ben Hania. It's up for international film. It could win. It could win. It might surprise everyone and win. I talked about this. This is a kind of documentary hybrid. Like it kind of is a documentary hybrid. Like this director likes to do that. She likes to blend like reality with reenactment or whatever. It's a bottle movie. It's all set in one location. It's about this. I think they're the Red Crescent, volunteers in Gaza, trying to organize a rescue operation for a trapped, I think, 5-year-old girl who is trapped in a war zone in Gaza. She's been shot at. Her whole family's dead. And it's awful. It's a nightmare scenario. You can't even bear to think about it. But what they did is that this actually happened, and they took the actual recordings that this little girl made to the Red Crescent, and they put it into the actual film, and that's what the actors are reacting to. They're talking to her. They're talking to the actual recordings as if, it's within the film. So yeah. Um, it's very seamless and it's very well done. And there's some moments where they kind of blend the fact and like the actors and the real people together in a very creative way. But my biggest hang up for this movie is that maybe it's too soon for a film like this. I don't know. There's just something about because when you're watching a movie, I keep saying when you're watching a movie, you're in the lap of luxury. You're sitting down. You're eating. Um, you're safe. And it's a luxury. I don't think a lot of people recognize how much of a luxury it is to not only be in a safe space, sitting on a comfy chair in a warm environment in front of a screen, watching a film, but not just that, but even having the ability or even the time or the opportunity to do that in any capacity. How much of a luxury that is. It's something that a lot of people take for granted. And I don't know. It kind of feels wrong watching this movie as like a piece of entertainment. I don't know. I really struggled with it. I really struggled contending with the fact that I'm listening to a real girl's voice here, and it just felt wrong. It felt wrong. It felt. I don't want to say exploitative because the intentions are pure. They have good intentions with what they're trying to do with it, but there's something about me. I felt like a disconnect. I felt there was a disconnect going on between the events of what the film I'm watching is and me, the audience member, consuming it. I don't know. Maybe I haven't thought about it from the right angle yet. But I kind of feel like this, like similar to like a lot of ways to like a lot of other films as well. So it's definitely a me problem. But still, though, it's a great film. Very upsetting. There was a lot of people crying in the cinema when I saw it. Yeah, so be prepared. 7 out of 10. It's a good movie. I liked it. But I don't know. I'm definitely uncomfortable watching it, but not for. Well, definitely I am uncomfortable watching it for the reasons that are intended, but there is some discomfort coming from unintended reasons. Is the best way to say it. Right. Final two. Weapons, directed by Zach Kreger. This is like a Paul Thomas Anderson influenced horror film, which is fun, which is cool. It features multiple fragmented storylines, and they're all interacting with each other. And it has this central mystery that's so big, that is so grand, it is so insanely unreal that it kind of has to offer a big payoff, and I think that's what's going to make or break the film for a lot of people is how it pays off, because it raises such a big question that it needs to have an equally big answer to be satisfying. What's her name? Amy Madigan is nominated for supporting actress, and if I'm being honest, I want her to win. I want her to win because it'd be so good to see a horror movie win an Oscar like this. And she deserves it as well. It isn't just, oh, give it to her because it's a horror movie. She deserves it. It is one of the best performances of the year. It is one of the most memorable characters of the year. It is one of the few characters this year that I would call iconic. I think she will go down in horror history as an iconic character. I think that people will remember Gladys from Weapons years from now, and I think that was intentional. She has such a distinct look to her that how could you not remember her? But yeah, I need to watch this movie again. There's a lot going on, and I think you kind of have to know what it is you're getting into, because when you're watching it the first time, your mind is all over the place trying to figure out the mystery, and you're probably thinking of like 6 different directions that the story could go in, and then it might just go down one direction, and you're like, oh, I could have done this, or I could have done that, or whatever. Yeah, I think it deserves a second watch on my part anyway. And I think I might like it more on rewatch. Alden Ehrenreich was very fun in this. I really liked him in this. And the ending, the final scene, is fucking glorious. Like, it's like the last 10 minutes of this movie are absolutely insane. Yeah, 7 out of 10. Very high 7 out of 10 for now. Maybe an 8 in the future. Really liked it. Wasn't a big fan of Barbarian. But yeah, this was a pleasant surprise. I was really happy with the weapons. And then last movie, Zootopia 2, directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard. Yeah, listen, like, I'm not a furry, but if I think I was, I'd enjoy this more. But I'm not. I don't really care about anthro animals. Like, there's some fun character designs and there's some fun chase sequences, but like, it's a nothing movie for me. I'm just being honest here. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. There wasn't a single good joke in this. I didn't laugh at a single fucking moment. The lead characters aren't, like, I don't care about the fucking rabbit and the fox. I don't care. They're not interesting. Alright? They seem like bait. They seem like bait for DeviantArt. Alright? They're designed specifically so that sickos can make fucking weirdly inappropriate comics about them. And there's a lot of tired tropes in this. It's fairly predictable. And if I'm being honest here, I fell asleep watching this at the cinema. And, you know, I'm being honest, I'm being honest enough to admit to that. I fell asleep watching this movie for about like 10 minutes. I don't care. Like, it's not like I was gonna like it anyway, but yeah. So you can't deny my honesty. My voice is going. What the hell even happens in this movie? It's just a bunch of animals running around. Who cares? 5 out of 10. Yeah. So the other movie that I haven't seen as of recording this is Cutting Through Rocks. Let me just check the time. Alright, 52 minutes. Jesus Christ. I'll put in my thoughts for Cutting Through Rocks here. If I end up seeing it. If not, there's going to be an awkward silence. We'll just finish this off by talking about some snubs. Films that I think should have been nominated but weren't. Yeah. I'm really exhausted right now, and I kind of want to be done with this fucking thing. I'm sick of the Oscars. Jesus Christ. I hope Will Smith slaps someone else. No other choice. I mean, I'm not the first to say it. A lot of other people have been echoing this, but No Other Choice got 0 nominations. I mean, it's kind of fitting, like, thematically with the film. But yeah, it could have been an easy international film nominee, Best Picture, Director, Editing, Cinematography, even sound, even visual effects. I mean, it has better visual effects than The Lost Bus. Like, come on. As I said, it was just an accident, deserved more than just screenplay and international film. I think it could have gotten director, cinematography, maybe lead performance, maybe, even Best Picture, honestly. The Love That Remains was an Icelandic film that I really loved. It's a really pleasant and fun and endearing comedy drama that's a bit surreal at points. Definitely could have gotten cinematography. That was one of the most gorgeous, one of the most sublime looking movies of 2025, and I think I would have given it like international film, best picture, screenplay, like maybe like lead actress or something, like the whole shebang. The score as well, like it definitely deserves something for that. Father, directed by Teresa Invitova, I talked about that. Could have gotten cinematography, international film, screenplay. The two lead actors could have gotten nominees. Could have gotten nominations easily. Warfare by Alex Garland, 1000% deserved a nomination for best sound. 1000. That was some of the best sound design I've heard in any movie in the last few years, and it didn't get nominated. And I guess it could have also gotten like production design and cinematography. 28 years later, could have gotten editing, cinematography, score as well. The Mastermind could have gotten cinematography, I thought. Predators was a very dark and thought provoking documentary, but I guess it's too nuanced for a lot of people. Could have gotten, a documentary nomination. Sally Hawkins for Bring Her Back. I think the Louis Theroux, The Settlers documentary could have been nominated, although I don't think it was. I don't think it was probably eligible, but who cares? Superman, surprised it didn't get visual effects. It had better visual effects than Avatar, if I'm being honest. Roofman maybe could have gotten like casting or screenplay. 2,000 Meters Down Drivka for documentary. Friendship could have gotten maybe like a screenplay nomination, although I know it's like a silly comedy, so maybe not that. Like they wouldn't have nominated it anyway. It doesn't matter how good that movie was. Boorman and the Devil maybe for documentary, but again, I don't know. It's not really. A lot of the documentaries here are about like heavy social, social issues. So I don't think they'd appreciate making it, nomination a documentary about a shitty movie. Pillion could have gotten a casting, I think, at least anyway, or maybe even a screenplay. And let me just glance through this one last time before I forget to see if there's anything else that deserved a nomination that I'm forgetting. I think that's it. Really. Oh, Mickey 17 deserved visual effects easily. Mickey 17 had some of the best visual effects of the year. Like the best of the year. No doubt. Yeah, and I guess Phoenician Scheme for cinematography and production design. So yeah, that was the Oscars this year. I'm exhausted. There was a lot of stuff that I did not care for being nominated, and my voice is going, and I just want to be done with this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Who cares? F1's going to sweep anyway.